Back there. I'm staring at three people. Right? All right, so let's get fired up. So, how many of you came to Vegas to just rock it out and party? 14 of you, let's go! Let's do it.
I mean, they must be like me.
Okay.
So how many of you came here to catch up on some sleep because you got a toddler at home? Moms, can I hear you? Yeah, I have been such a lazy lima bean while I've been here. It's been awesome.
Last night we're at dinner and she's like, what time is it? I'm like, babe, it's 8:50. We have a 3-year-old daughter that keeps us on her toes, so it's a pretty fun time. So I'll share real quickly a little bit about my story, and then Jess will share hers. And so I'm someone that grew up that didn't have the greatest childhood, I'm sure like many people in here. My parents were divorced when I was very young, and I went through a lot of abuse until I was the age of 12. And again, I know many of you here had much tougher obstacles to overcome in life. And I had one thing, and that was work ethic. I did have that. I wasn't necessarily good at anything I ever tried, ever, and I just was persistent. I kept trying whatever it was I was trying to be good at, and got better. I worked my way up in the corporate world to a pretty good paying salary, and which is great because I didn't finish high school on time, never finished college, and I'd worked my way up in this company, in a corporation, and found that the harder I worked, the more they would pay, which is nice, but also the more they would demand. And so I noticed I was spending more time with pictures of my kids than the real thing. I noticed that I couldn't do a lot of the things that I wanted to do. In fact, sometimes I'd have a vacation scheduled and had to cancel it because the work demanded that I be in there. How many know what I'm talking about? A few of you? And so I realized that I didn't want to stay there. I didn't want to stay in that job. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to spend more time with my kids. And, HR department didn't have a position that said work less, make more. I asked, they were confused. And so I decided to go out on my own. Now, I didn't go out into network marketing at first. I actually went into real estate, which back in 2004, 2005, Florida real estate, awesome, right? I'm like, I'm a genius. This is amazing. Wow, I'm killing it. And then the market changed, and I got wiped out. And so I had tried my hand at network marketing, and I just want to kind of give you a little bit of insight on how I feel about network marketing. Network marketing is the lowest risk, lowest overhead way for the average ordinary person to start a business. And if you look at things like Shark Tank, right? You have people that go in there, they give away their life savings, they sunk their IRA, and they're willing to give 50% of their equity of their company that they built in their basement making almond butter cookies because they just want some connections. Do you realize in network marketing, you don't have to know hardly anything. You don't have to know the comp plan. You don't have to know supply chain management. You don't need trademark attorneys, patent attorneys. You don't need currency conversion. You don't have to know the logistics of shipping products or even labeling things. Literally, all you do is say, hey, you open to my thing? Check it out. That's your risk. And so I got involved, I got serious, I should say, about network marketing, $1 million in debt, dead broke, being chased by bill collectors, had gone through divorce, was being supported by a beautiful girl I had met who's working at the makeup counter.
It was me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. And so from that desperation, both of us became the number one incomers in that company. And like Curtis was saying, we built that up, and at the same time, we were doing social media and videos and things like that before many other people were really talking about that. And so we had a lot of people ask us to train their teams or share the different stages. I remember I was on Eric's stage back in 2012, I think, was the first time. And we had a drink. And so we decided about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years now, to focus on coaching and training the industry as a whole. And so we've been working with different leaders, we speak at different company events, and we love supporting the profession as a whole because, again, we see it as that gateway drug, really, for entrepreneurs and for people to create freedom in their life. We're really excited about that. And so, Jess?
Yeah, so real quickly, I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my story because I feel like a lot of you could could relate. So now I'm very comfortable on stage. I was definitely not that way 10 plus years ago now. I grew up in a home with a bipolar parent. And if any of you have ever lived with someone who's bipolar, or you've been close with someone who's bipolar, you know that it's a roller coaster, right? You never know who's going to show up. And so for years, as an adolescent, my life was this, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. And I was told, some days I would be picked up from school and I was told, you're the best kid ever, I love you so much, you're amazing. Some days I would be picked up and told I was a piece of shiitake mushrooms and beaten over and over and over again verbally, just beaten down. So what resulted from that was me walking on eggshells around people. Can anybody relate to that? I became a people pleaser. And I think for women, that's a very common thing. We lower our self-confidence and we become people pleasers. And so when I started in this business, I was very young. I was 21 years old. Had no business experience, nothing to back me up confidence-wise, and I was walking on eggshells. Didn't want to sell anyone, didn't want anybody to feel like they were being uncomfortable or make anyone uncomfortable, right? So I went to my friends and family, which is a great first start, and I was showing up with my past dragging behind me. Can anybody relate? I was showing up meek and weak and not confident. And so for 6 months, didn't sign up a single person. And then I found social media. And something amazing happened because I realized that on social media, there's no preconceived notion of who I had to be, of who I should show up like. There was no preconceived notion of how I should show up. When you go to somebody who knows you, or you go to a coworker or someone like that, a lot of times we show up with our past because of the way that person perceives us, yes? So on social media, there are billions of people who don't know you. So you can show up with the confidence and the energy and the excitement of the person that you truly are inside. And when I truly got that and I understood that, everything got easier. And so I came onto social media and signed up my first person. And it gave me that little bit of confidence. And started recruiting, prospecting, marketing like crazy with no background, no business experience, as I mentioned. I didn't have a Lambo to show off, although that would have been really cool. And created a nice 6-figure business at 23 years old. So, as Curtis mentioned, people started asking us, how are you doing it? How are you building? How are you doing it on social media? And so I started teaching scripts. And I thought, I would just tell everybody, this is what you say, this is what you do, here's the exact lines, here's the exact questions to ask. And you know what happened? They started interrogating their prospects. Leaders, you know what I'm talking about. All conversational, social interaction went out the window, and they just started asking questions right away. Oh, I have this list of questions, I'm going to ask all of these. Or I have, this script, and I'm going to use it no matter what they said before. So I stopped teaching exactly what to say, and I started teaching formulas. Teaching you how to think, not what to think. And that duplicated like crazy. So I want to share some of those with you really quickly. And you can take a picture of this, screenshot it. We're going to go through them quickly, but just make sure you get your cameras out. And let me see if I can work this thing. All right, perfect. So this is my first message formula. And before I get into this, I just want to mention one thing. So Ray and I, we have two very different styles. There are a million ways to make $1 million. So you're going to hear from some very smart people on the stage this week. Many of them have done it the same way. Many of them have done it differently. You have to find what works for you and take those action steps and do them consistently. So whatever you're going to do consistently, that's what you do. And so this is what worked for me. I have a more subdued personality, I would say, and Ray has a little more to the point. Either can work, just take for you what makes sense. So this...
Yeah, and like Jess said, if you have something that's working for you, don't change it. A lot of times you'll hear new strategies, you're like, ooh, that sounds interesting, but you're actually doing something that's working. Don't stop something that's working.
Yep, so this is the first one. Couple of points on this. It's important to have an enticing first sentence. Why? Because people are scrolling through their messages. Like, they have hundreds of messages that come into their inbox. Why are they going to click yours? Really important. You want to include their first name. Make sure that they know that you're speaking to them directly, why you're messaging them, and then a connection point, a point of excitement. Get excited. That doesn't mean 50 million exclamation points, okay?
Or emojis.
Or emojis. Like, yeah, I'm so excited that they might think you're crazy.
No.
But get excited. And then always end with some kind of question. Keep the conversation going.
And notice what's not in there. In your first message, you should not have a link. Do not have a link. Now, some of you that are maybe my age or a little bit older, you used to open your mail over the trash can, and maybe you still do, right? Looking for junk mail. Like, okay, junk. That's how people look. That's how people go through their inbox on social media now, is they say, oh, there's a link and I don't know, delete. I'm telling you, do not have a link in that first message ever.
Yep, absolutely. And so for this follow-up formula, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jess, do I really have to tell people to respond to the answer of the original question I just sent a prospect? Do I really have to tell them to respond and act conversational? And the answer is yes. Sometimes people get so focused on the close, so focused on what they want to ask, that they forget to be a human being. They forget to respond to the prospect. And so that's a really important step. A relatability point, something in common that you have with them, and this can relate to a short story. So I'll give you an example. Something that is really powerful to get somebody into your business is sharing stories of others that are in their same situation. Many top leaders will agree with me on that. So for instance, if somebody said, oh yeah, I'm in real estate and I've been in real estate for 10 years, you can say, oh my gosh, that's so great. I know Susie down the road and she's in real estate, and actually, she actually just quit real estate to do her home business full time, but that's awesome. Just short little stories, third-party validation, right? And then a leading question. So you might be asking, what's a leading question? It's a question that directs someone where you want them to go. You're leading them. So here are some examples. You guys can take a picture of that. Here's some product examples. So if somebody says, oh, I really want to lose some weight, don't say, well, I have this amazing product and it's going to be great for you, and then go into all the benefits of how it's going to make them lose weight. Ask them questions. Do you mind if I ask how long you've suffered from not being able to lose weight? I saw that you posted about that. Right? It's all about asking the right questions. Again, when you're ready to close, acknowledge your prospect situation. I know what you mean. You can use a short story if you'd like. And then this is a line that I use over and over again. Based on what you've shared with me, I may or may not have a good solution for you. If you'd like to check it out, great. If not, no big deal. And then offer to send the information. And very, very important that you follow this rule and you tell people that you do not send a link until you receive a positive response. So I'll pass it to Ray for
that. And notice that, I may or may not have a good solution for you. That is a very powerful way to use language. So we teach a lot of, hey, this may or may not be a fit for you. And that actually is much more powerful than saying, this is a no-brainer. Hey, you would totally crush this thing, or this is the best thing out there. It's more powerful for you to say it may or may not be for you, because it shows you as more of a professional. It shows you that you're not addicted to the outcome. You don't have to have them sign up, and you're not trying to push on them. You know, I heard the definition of persuading is getting someone to do what they already want to do for their benefit. Convincing is getting them to do what you want them to do for your benefit. And so convincing sounds like this thing's a no-brainer, you should totally do this thing, and pushing them to do what you want them to do. Whereas persuasion is giving them options and say, hey, this may or may not be a fit for you. If you're open to it, great. If not, no big deal. And that's something that actually grants you power, but most people are terrified to say that because they're worried to offer some kind of out that it could possibly, that it might not be the perfect solution for them, but that's actually more powerful for you to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Helpful? Thank you. Makes sense to this guy up here. I like it. So, I want to share with you a little bit about Facebook Lives. You know, we ran we did a 14-day marketing challenge. You know,
Hey, by the way, before you go into that,
right?
woo-hoo! Thank you. Just so you know, I mean, obviously marketing, lives, very important.
Yeah.
But you have to know how to convert those people, do you
Yes.
not? So studying the psychology that we just shared with you is very, very important. I know everybody's going to eat up the lives and
Sure.
love that, which is very valuable. But remember that learning how to talk to people is the most important skill that you can learn in this business.
There's no question. A lot of people years ago and maybe still come to the internet out of weakness. And they come because they're like, well, I don't know how to talk to people. Well, there's a lot of people on the line. Let's just go there. You still have to learn how to talk to people. You still have to learn to communicate. And it's something that if you don't, you're going to be working so much harder than someone that just knows how to ask questions. So learn how to ask powerful questions. And so we have a few little suggestions for you around lives. So we did a 14-day marketing challenge, as some of you were in. And that's awesome. But in 14 days, we helped people generate over 7,800 leads by doing Facebook Lives in a little bit different way. And so the rules, this will crack some people up, the rules were you could not name your company, you could not name your product, and you could not position yourself as an expert. Now you heard, some of you may not have heard it correctly, but you heard Eric talk about you gotta be an influencer. Some of you heard expert. You actually shouldn't be an expert. My suggestion is against that, because the more special, credible expert you are, the less likely people think that they can do what you're doing. So if you're getting up there and you're like, hey, whatever, right? And your everything in your message is how special and credible you are, then how will the person that's trying to scrape by, or the mechanic, the substitute teacher, or whoever, how are they going to believe that they can possibly be you? Now, you may hear that and think, well, he's about to speak on Facebook Lives. Not everyone's going to do Facebook Lives. True. Not everyone talks to strangers either. It's interesting to me because a lot of people, they say, well, social media and online stuff, that stuff's not duplicatable. Well, what is? Is speaking to human beings duplicatable? If you have 9% or more of your team that talks to strangers offline, I'm impressed. But isn't that duplicatable? And so I would be using the best weapon that exists around marketing right now, which is Facebook Lives, and it's free. And so, number one, many of you are asking, you're like, how do I get more engagement? How do I get more comments? I'm just down in the water, man, it's dry here.
Vegas.
I know.
Right.
How do I get more comments? How do I get more likes? How do I get more engagement? How do I get more people watching my stuff? But you don't engage. You don't comment. You don't like stuff, love stuff, whatever. And so you have to become that which you want to attract to you. You have to start doing that stuff. And so before I go live, I've timed it out between 5 to 6 minutes. I will go and I will love on other people's stuff. And I'll drop comments and all kinds of different things. And this is something that is easy to do. Don't overthink it, but just engage with some before you actually go live or even post a status update. And, we have people in the crowd like my man Frazier over here. What's up, Frazier? I think he's over there. It looks like him. But, you know, he'll talk about engagement, I would assume, because he is very, very good at that. A compelling title. Don't do a Facebook Live that's just like, Random Thoughts with Ray. Right?
I would watch, babe.
Aw, I think she's lying. I don't know. Would you look which one's it? Is she amazing? Look at this. Amazing. She's so awesome. But assume that people are chasing kids doing laundry. Assume that they got free jobs. Assume that they got to run to the dentist appointment. Assume they're missing their flight. And your title pulls them by the eyeballs and tells them they got to watch. Assume that they're busy. And so how do you get them to watch is you have a better compelling title. What's something that they will miss that flight for because they got to make sure they see this thing? And I know I'm painting it a little dramatically, but if you start to think like that, you will become a better marketer. Value, solve some problems. It could be the 3 ways to lose weight, the best exercises to do to get ripped or diesel or whatever you want to talk about, or the 4 ingredients to avoid in your shampoo. And you don't have to be an expert because here's how you do that. You come up with content, you go to this little known website, you might write down, Google. See people writing it? Okay, they're not writing it. But go to Google, google.com, and type in weight loss tips, shampoo tips, hair loss tips, whatever. Find tips and say, hey guys, I was just on a website and they were sharing some tips, I thought I'd share them with you. And a lot of people, they struggle with, well, how do I transition if I'm not talking about my product or my company? Stop overthinking it. Stop overthinking it. And so the way that you transition, and we actually did this. During our 14-day challenge, we actually did this, and we said, I want you to pick something you know nothing about and go live about it. Now, how many would be terrified to do that? We had ladies talking about grooming your beard. True story. We had guys, be careful with this one, talking about mammograms. All right? And it was, for many of the participants, it was their most watched video ever. Ever. Okay? And so you can transition by saying things like, hey, having nothing to do with that, I happen to be doing this, and if you'd like more information, feel free to reach out to me. I'll give you 7 tips on how to lose weight or how to blah, blah, blah. Is that helpful? Okay? Thank you.
BB's killing it.
In your Facebook Lives, you should always have a call to action. And the call to action, my suggestion for maximum efficiency is to offer more information. Offer more tips that you also found on Google. The CTA delay is how you will close the majority of your people. Okay? When it comes to Facebook Lives. So the CTA delay is, and you may have to take your phone and step back from your laptop, but when you get people to reach out to you, you say, hey, I'm more than happy to send you those 10 tips. When I'm back in front of my laptop, it may be right in front of you, right? When I'm back in front of my laptop, I'm happy to send you these 10 tips. I'm just curious, do you currently have a nutrition program? Are you currently taking supplements? Do you currently have a hair care solution? Do you currently have, ask them the question. Wait for them to answer before they get the goodies, before they get the information. And so I hope this is helpful to you. There's a lot of people, I'm excited as a marketer because there's a lot more people doing videos than ever before, but you're doing the work. Why not make it more effective? Why not make it more efficient? And so I hope that was helpful to you. And I just got, one last thing. I believe the number one issue with the success rate of network marketers is overthinking. And I just want to put it to you this way. There is someone right now that is in a very tough situation in their life, and maybe it's finances, maybe it's health, maybe it's just relationships gone awry. There is someone right now that is on their hands and knees praying for a solution, and you have that solution. You just got to ask them. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be perfect. You don't got to be $1 million earner. You don't have to be, I was talking to Tom Chanel earlier today. How many know Tom? Amazing. That got applause. That was good. All right, I use Tom more. But I was talking to Tom. Tom, this is a cool story. Tom was recruited by someone working at a Taco Bell. True story. Who's here tonight getting into the $1 Million Hall of Fame. So you think you have to be perfect or you got to be a whole lot better than you currently are? You don't. Just ask the question. Just see if people are open. You have the solution that so many people need. You just got to ask them. So We believe in you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you guys
I appreciate you guys so much.